Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Association Leadership Radio. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Association Leadership Radio, and this is going to be a good one. Today we have with us Kristi Howell with the Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Kristi.
Hi, Lee. Thanks for having me today.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us about the BCRCC.
So we are a regional business membership organization located in the heart of New Jersey, just the tip of central Jersey. As you may know, New Jersey, we're divided into north and south. And we serve over 500 plus member businesses in our region, including the greater Philadelphia area, Mercer County, Gloucester, Camden County, any business that really wants to do business in Burlington County with us and wants to grow their business and connect with like-minded business people.
Well, what's your backstory? How'd you get involved with Chambers of Commerce?
So I have a really interesting backstory. I went to Widener University. I was a government and politics major, and I was planning on going to law school. I interned at the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce in their government affairs department. Really enjoyed it there. Decided to take a year off before I went to law school. Ended up never going to law school, worked for Governor Kristi Whitman and then acting governor and Senate President Don DeFrancesco. Found myself on the losing end of a campaign looking for next steps. And this organization was like the little engine that could. So after about 9 years in government, I began my 18-year so far career here at the chamber. And I just saw it as a great opportunity to do something new. Quite frankly, Lee, I honestly, having interned at the Delaware County Chamber, thought the interview process would get my foot in the door. I was just 30 years old, so I figured it would get my foot in the door, maybe land me a spot in government affairs. Take yourself back 18 years ago, there wasn't much interactive websites, things like that. So I couldn't find out a whole lot about the organization. Little did I know that there were two people employed here at the time, and there was no government affairs department. But it's been a great opportunity. We have on a good day, pre-COVID, up to 4 employees here now, serving over 32,000 employees in our region, and like I said, 500 plus businesses, and over 2,000 people that we connect with on a daily basis.
Now, what are some of the pivots you had to make because of the pandemic? Because some of the most important parts of being involved with the chamber are those kind of face-to-face interactions, the meetings, the education, the networking that goes on. How were you able to kind of thread that needle and still offer those kind of things with, most of things happening virtually now?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, Lee. So one of our biggest pivots was we did lay off our staff. As of April 1st, I was the only employee here, and that was really just to conserve our cash and make sure that we could get through the pandemic. We were lucky to have a nice little nest egg to get us through that, but we obviously, as many people, just like us, didn't know how long it was going to last, and we still don't really know. So, we did that. So I found myself being a one-woman show and quickly pivoting before New Jersey shut down, just a few days before New Jersey shut down. We immediately did a Zoom with one of our folks who is an industrial engineer type person who came in and talked about all the COVID stuff, how to clean, what to do, things like that. And that really launched it for us. Since that's happened, we've had over 75 virtual programs for our members, whether it be meeting with elected officials, talking with them one-on-one, about what's going on with their business, to virtual networking events, to just basic education on continuing marketing strategies, social media strategies, how to sell when no one's buying, and a number of other things. Our Women's Business Network, instead of having, an in-person event every other month, they went to a bi-monthly coffee and connections in the afternoon, and we just made it work. We surveyed our members, which is really important to us. We're really big about surveying our members, asking them what they need. We, of course, responded quickly with information on PPP and EIDL, and our state rolled out some New Jersey Economic Development Authority grants. So we quickly, put programs together like that. But the playbook got thrown out the door. And instead of having an entire year of programming planned as I did, I was planning about 2 weeks at a time, just on what current issues and what our members really needed to do. And, we find that we're most successful when we respond to our members' needs. And that's exactly what we did.
And that is good advice for everybody, is to listen to your customer, because they'll tell you what they need. They're not shy about that.
That is correct. And they did. Probably some of our best answered surveys came during COVID, as they were telling us what they needed and how we could help. The other thing we did, Lee, that I thought was, it wasn't really unique to us, but I thought was very important. As our restaurant community, went to takeout, we continued on a weekly basis to get information out to our members and to the community at large as to who was doing takeout, how to access that, and how to just keep supporting this community that was probably one of the hardest hit, by the pandemic.
Right. And it's, I'm sure it's rewarding to you. I know it's rewarding to me that I get to talk to business owners every day, is just the resilience of business folks. They're never going to quit. They're just going to figure out a way, and they're just going to keep grinding. It's just amazing and inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some of them who have been knocked down, just how they've been resilient. And, a lot of them, especially in our restaurant world, who said, we never had a big takeout business, but now we know how to do it. So, you can't get a reservation here on Mother's Day. You can have the same great food and take it home, perhaps. So I think we're going to see a new line of business open for many of our members.
Right. Now, how many future restaurant owners are going to have some sort of a curbside or delivery or takeout is going to be now a big chunk of their business, where maybe it was an afterthought previously.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a consumer, it was an afterthought. I mean, I think about some of the white tablecloth restaurants, that I go to business lunches and dinners and things like that at, and enjoy holiday meals at. And I would have never really thought about doing takeout from them. That's just not where you think about getting takeout from, right? You think about takeout from your local pizza place or the barbecue joint or something like that. And now I even, as a consumer, think about takeout, a nice dinner at home on a Friday night instead of going out. So it's an interesting pivot all around.
Yeah, it's really been fascinating for me. We had a restaurant that I hadn't been to, but they were doing a Zoom meal which you picked up from their restaurant that included wine, and then they had a vineyard CEO talk about the wine, all on a Zoom call, which was, 30, 40 people eating together the meal from the restaurant, listening to this wine expert talk about why that wine's a good pairing with this food. That never would have happened, if there wasn't the pandemic. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The creativity is really amazing. And some of that, it's like you said, some of that's going to kind of linger on after the pandemic. Those are the silver linings that are going to open up new lines of business for some folks.
Well, and I think it's going to be a determination of survival too. Who survives? I've talked to some people who have said we've found a new line of business and a new opportunity and how to run it effectively. And then some other folks who have said, gee, I can't wait to get back to normal so I don't have to do this, and aren't really seeing those opportunities. So I'm hopeful that a lot of our members will see what the new opportunities are and take advantage of them.
Now, in your region, are there certain industries that are kind of the main focus of the region that you specialize in helping?
So we are really a professional services organization. That's really our sweet spot. We help those members who do B2B the best, although our restaurants are sort of an anomaly for us because we can host events and kind of promote them in a different way. So we certainly help those a lot. But certainly our B2B folks are architects, engineers, lawyers, accountants, marketing professionals, you name it. That's really our sweet spot here, because Burlington County is just so diverse. We go from the Atlantic Ocean to the Delaware River. You can be in one town that looks like a amazing little city and drive 7 minutes, 8 minutes outside and be in farm country. So we have everything from some of the largest. We're home to some of the largest U.S. headquarters of some important businesses to farmland. We're actually the second largest grower of cranberries in the nation here in Burlington County and in South Jersey. So we kind of have a little bit of everything. But again, for us, it's hard to serve a little bit of everybody. So we really focus on those B2B businesses. And then we work on the B2C businesses in the downtown, mom and pop shops, those kind of folks, in partnership with our local business associations. We have 13 local business associations that serve our downtown communities, and a lot of those small shops run by, mom and dad, husband and wife, things of that nature. So we work with them to help provide integral services to them that they wouldn't otherwise get access to, but they don't really need all the time, like an opportunity to, be online with our congressman or attend a breakfast with the congressman, things of that nature. So we extend those critical resources to them through our relationships with our local business association partners.
Now, how important is that kind of government advocacy to you guys? Like, is that a big part of what you're doing, or is it more of the outreach and serving the local business folks?
So the advocacy is about probably 20 or 25% of what we do. And again, advocacy, because we're a 501c6 nonprofit, so we don't lobby. Advocacy, but let me tell you how very important that is. On 4th of July weekend, someone from the health department or their forth, I don't have all the details, walked into a restaurant and said, you have a fixed roof, therefore you don't qualify under the governor's open air rules, and you're closed. And closed about, a half a dozen to a dozen other restaurants. Well, thankfully, we had built tremendous relationships with our state senator. So did most of these restaurants. And by Monday afternoon, unfortunately, we, had to live through the holiday weekend with some of this. But by Monday afternoon, the governor revised his order, realized that fixed roofs with 3 open sides were just as good as a tent. And, these businesses could resume. And we got it solved very quickly. So that advocacy is just so important. Lee, the other thing we were able to offer because of this advocacy is I've had several roundtables where our elected officials, our state senator, our assemblywomen, our assembly persons, even our congressmen have listened. We've been able to put 5, 6, 8 business people together on a roundtable and let them talk to those folks about their concerns, what's impacting them during COVID. One of our members actually even got spotlighted by the governor at his daily press conference because of the advocacy work that we do and what he was able to do to kind of protect his employees and so forth with PPP, through the PPP loan, the New Jersey EDA loan, and how he was able to, protect and keep moving. So that becomes really critical to us. You don't know you need it until you need it. And as I always tell businesses, it's important to build it when you don't need it, so it's in your back pocket when you do need it.
Right. I think that a lot of business folks don't appreciate the chambers of commerce and all their work they're doing behind the scenes. They think of it maybe as just, oh, that's a networking thing, or they have, meals periodically or morning stuff. But they don't understand that this behind the scenes stuff, it's like you say, is kind of an insurance policy for them. And the more active they are, then they get kind of a seat at the table so they can express what's important to them.
Right. Absolutely. There's no better opportunity than really being able to sit down one-on-one or even 5-to-1 with your elected officials. And I know some of the concerns that we voiced, our elected officials took back to Trenton with them, and we were able to see some changes done pretty quickly to help our business community continue to prosper, during COVID-19 and during this time. So, we were really happy about the results of those meetings we had and the relationships that we've built.
So now when you're going out and kind of evangelizing the chamber to the business folks in your community, what's kind of your sales pitch to them?
My sales pitch, Lee, is really, we're all in this together. And whether you need us today or you need us, 6 months or 6 years from now, it's important to be a part of us now. I see so many people that call me, when they're on the verge of trouble or a problem or an issue, and we don't have that relationship, or when they need somebody and they don't have that relationship. So really our whole thing is it's about building relationships and getting to know people. And I've got, over 18 years, I've got dozens and dozens of stories from businesses that have said, I met this guy 12 years ago. I never thought I would need him. And all of a sudden, fast forward, something's happened in my business or my personal life, and I needed him. And thank God I knew him, and I built a business relationship with him by seeing him over and over and over again at chamber events, and really was able to hire somebody that I knew and trusted, to get the job done. So, that's really what we talk about. It's really that referral network and that opportunity to really know somebody and call on somebody that you trust when you need something done.
And then in order to get the most out of a relationship with a chamber, this isn't something that you just pay your dues and think you're done. I think the people who get the most out of it really get involved and volunteer, and then they take leadership positions, and then they really, kind of get engaged at a high level in order to kind of get the most value from their membership. Is that what you find?
Yeah, absolutely. Whether they volunteer or whether they just show up, we have a number of programs every month, including our general membership luncheon. And sometimes it's just a matter of showing up, and you would be surprised, and maybe you wouldn't, about how many calls I get after events, and someone will describe someone to me and say, I met this guy, he was wearing a black shirt. I think he's in the spa business, but I'm not sure. But we talked about a gift from my mother or something. And, and I'll go, oh, it was so-and-so. And, here's how to connect with them. So sometimes it's just about being present, and that's, we only have so many volunteer spots and so many leadership spots. And it's so, the more important thing is being present and being engaged and involved. And like you said, not just paying your dues and hoping, that, you're going to get some business out of it. I see far too many folks who leave us after, a year or so because they said, oh, I didn't get any business out of it. And I look at their record and find out that they came to 3 events in their first 3 months and never returned. And that's just not the way it is. A lot of my board members will tell stories about how it took 2 and 3 years for them to get business. And now they're getting business, daily, weekly, monthly, because they've built those relationships. So people have to understand that this is a long-term, investment, and relationship building in general is a long-term investment. And certainly doing that through a Chamber of Commerce is a long-term investment.
Right. And it's not like an ATM machine where you pay money and then more money comes out the bottom. This is something that you got to really go in with a heart of service. It's not a transaction where you show up and people are going to buy your stuff. You got to kind of earn the trust over time.
Absolutely. And, sometimes someone will hear a story and they'll say, oh, well, I heard so-and-so got business within his first 3 months. Well, sometimes it's just right place, right time, right? Someone was looking to build a new website that day and you got the business, or someone was looking for, a gift card for his or her mom for Mother's Day, and, they went to the spa to get it. So sometimes it's right place, right time, but, those are few and far between and not the norm.
Now, in our business, we get to spotlight kind of these underserved groups that maybe don't get the attention that other groups have. Do you have something similar in the chamber where maybe kind of these subgroups with groups that maybe aren't the typical business owner, or that maybe aren't the mainstream? Maybe they're women-owned business or minority-owned business or veteran-owned businesses. Do you do things kind of for special interest groups?
We certainly do, Lee. We have an Emerging Leaders Network, which is near and dear to me. It's our 40 and under set, and it's really grooming them to be our future leaders and helping to develop those guys and gals. Then we have our Women's Business Network, which is anywhere from women business owners to women executives, and just giving them an opportunity to kind of connect with each other, talk with each other, learn from each other. But, you talk about the business executives, we even have an executive connection network for our business owners and executives to just sit together and talk about, what they need to talk about outside of the other white noise. We are setting up a diversity, equity, and inclusion group, which will be looking at minority and other businesses. And we work with the Veterans Chamber here in New Jersey, as we're home to Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, which is the largest joint base in our nation, and the only tri-service, and actually more than tri-service. It's a tri-service partnership with Air Force, Army, and Navy, but it also has the Marine Corps and the Coast Guard on it. So only base that has all 5 services on it. So we work with those veterans, for sure, but we haven't gotten into that group yet, to have a specialty group just for veterans. But it's funny you should say that. We've got Veterans Day coming up in a few weeks, And our luncheon program for that month will really focus on veterans in business, veteran entrepreneurs, programs and services for veterans. So if it's not an ongoing group, sometimes it's a specialty program a couple times a year that really focuses on those niches that are near and dear to our community.
Now, as you go through your career and you've been involved in chamber work for a long time, what is something that at the end of your career you're going to look back on and say, you know what, I made a difference in this area or that area? What is going to be some legacy that you're trying to kind of work towards?
The programs that we have here. We didn't have these programs when I got here. There wasn't a women's network, a young professionals network. I hope to look back and see some of my young professionals in leadership positions and be able to say it was the programs and services and hopefully even my mentorship that helped, get them there. But really to look back on the camaraderie that this business community has in Burlington County and to see people helping each other. And we saw that during COVID-19 for sure. That's just an accomplishment, that I'm just so proud of, to see how everyone really comes together under the chamber umbrella to help each other out when the need comes.
Well, thank you, Chris. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, and our nonprofits as well. I mean, our members have come out tenfold to help our nonprofits during this critical time.
Well, thank you so much, Kristi, for sharing your story today. If somebody wants to connect with you at the chamber or just maybe through LinkedIn, what's the best coordinates to get a hold of you?
BCRCC.com or Kristi Howell on LinkedIn for sure. You can also follow our Facebook page, BCR Chamber, and or you can email me at khowell@bcrcc.com.
Well, thank you again for sharing your story. You're doing such important work, and we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me today.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Association Leadership Radio.